Here's a message for the Republican Party.
You're stupid minds. Stupid. Stupid.
That's right, idiots. You're about to spend over $2 billion to put another Democrat in the White House.
Stupid.
I mean, come on. Look at the number of candidates for the presidential nomination. It's like the political version of that scene in Spartacus. It's a political circus that gets bigger every week, forming a roster that is less like the Avengers than the Expendables, because none of them are really electable. Let's look at the candidates. Scott Walker, president? Forget it. His backing of a bill banning abortion after 20 weeks of pregnancy, even in the case of rape or incest, doesn't put him on the road to the White House. It makes him roadkill. Rand Paul. The Kentucky senator is popular with poodle enthusiasts, and he's hoping to appeal to young voters, the ones who don't show up on Election Day. Mike Huckabee. Ugh, please. His fire and brimstone attacks on gay marriage, which has majority and growing support in the U.S., shows how out of step he is with voters. Friendship with Chuck Norris may get him in the Walker Texas Ranger reunion movie, but not into the White House. Lindsey Graham, already flip-flopping to seduce the Tea Partiers. Not working. Ted Cruz. Cruz's latest campaign promise is to get the rock band Foreigner deported. His positions on immigration, gun control, gay marriage, and abortion are unpopular with women, and a higher proportion of women show up to vote than men. So, forget it. Rick Santorum. Trying yet again to seek the nomination, Santorum often has trouble getting his message out because of all the cuckoo clocks that go off every time he talks. Carly Fiorina, known as the all-time worst CEO of a major tech firm with a history of layoffs, won't endear her to fiscal conservatives or Joe Lunchbox. Plus, it's hard to see her as a strong leader when there's the fear that she'll melt if hit by a bucket of water. I'm melting! Dr. Ben Carson, the man who thinks prison makes men gay. Carson is kind of like the fabled white rhino. If it wasn't for his color, he wouldn't stand out from the pack. He may be a heart surgeon, but his campaign's got no pulse. Rick Perry, one of the few people in the world who actually look stupider in glasses. It's going to be hard seeking the trust of voters while the former Texas governor is still under indictment for abuse of power. Plus, his positions on the environment, gay rights, and women's issues come from the same rock strata as Texas's oil. George Pataki is a fiscal conservative with an impressive record when he was governor of the blue state of New York, and his social policies have been more in tune with the general population, which means he'll never get the Republican nomination. Marco Rubio. Young and bright, but many see him as jumping the queue before he's really ready for the top job, and America's had 8 years of that. And of course, Donald Trump. It's hard to imagine putting the weight of the world on his shoulders when we see how he looks after what's currently on his shoulders. Bobby Jindal. When non-white presidential candidates were trendy, the governor of Louisiana was a dark and shining hope for the GOP. But lately, his inflammatory rhetoric means people sitting in the front row of his speeches have to wear rain ponchos to protect them from the flying spittle. Chris Christie, a very compelling speaker and another popular Republican governor of a blue state. But his moderate social views don't win him any love from the most vocal conservatives, and unlike Benghazi and email improprieties, people actually give a crap about traffic jams, so the so-called Bridgegate scandal is enough to stall him in any head-to-head fight with Hillary. Jeb Bush is touted as smarter than his brother George W., but then again, Mo was the smarter one too. Believed to be the one to beat for the nomination, like McCain and Romney, the moderate Bush will have to veer right to get the nomination, and the policies that could appeal to a general electorate will disappear like the winners of Survivor. Republicans need to wake up and smell the lattes. Americans are generally fiscally conservative, but increasingly socially progressive. Look at how fast the dial spun on gay marriage and how quickly people have accepted Caitlyn Jenner. The classic Republican drumbeats against abortion, gay rights, and immigration, in social media terms, they're MySpace. Even among young Republicans, social conservatism is their father's Oldsmobile. I'm not saying you abandon those principles, but stop leading with them. Crafting a campaign is like creating an online dating profile. You lead with all the positives that'll draw interest, and you save the unfortunate tattoo and prison record for after your first date. Or maybe the third. Republicans don't have to worry about losing their base. Social conservatives will still vote for them because where else have they got to go? The Democrats? Also, it's time to open the box of crayons. America is becoming less and less white, while the Republican Party's idea of diversity is limited to eye color. Spend less time trying to suppress the black vote and more time trying to earn it. Now that's where you stress the social conservatism, because a lot of blacks and people of color are very family-oriented and religious. Find common cause. It won't happen overnight, but it can happen. Reagan did it. He formed a coalition of Republicans and conservative Democrats, the Dixiecrats. That got him 2 landslide victories. But then, as both Jeb Bush and Lindsey Graham have observed, Reagan would be too liberal for today's Republican Party. That's why you're not winning one for the Gipper. You're putting another one in the crapper.